alone with him in the gondola later on after years and years, and we're talking, and he says, he goes, when I turn, it's like 10 times the force in the universe, and then like when you dogs turn. And I was like, and those of you who know me, I was speechless. I was just like, yeah, you're right, Mike. It was one of those. If I hadn't have been alone, I was like, no one's ever going to believe he said this out loud.
We also had an argument who was going to get struck first, who was more metal. I'm going to get struck before you. I'm more metal than you. Well, you really think so, huh?
Hal reminded me of a story with the ticket. I was skiing at A Basin with Mike, and we packed everything up, and we were driving down the road towards Keystone, and he said, "Where's my wallet?" And then he realized he left it on the bumper. So we stopped, and it wasn't there, and we turned around, and we went up the road. We actually found it laying on the side of the road. And yeah, that reminded me of that story. But every time I'd go to another ski area with him, the patrol would stop him and say, "Look, you can't ski like that here." And he would say, that's the way we all ski on Aspen Mountain. It's like, you cannot do that here.
I gotta say something about how I met Mike. So when I was 16, I was up here skiing with my mom, and we were doing laps on the gondola. We get on the gondola, and my mom says, "There's this guy who's been following us for like the last 4 laps." So we go do another lap, and we get in the gondola, and Mike comes running up and he goes, "Can I get in with you ladies?" My mom looks at him and goes, "Only if you got some good weed."
Coincidentally. Coincidence.
That's how we met Mike.
He had a crush on you.
Mike was he called me his little teenage sidekick. I think my senior year of high school, I clocked at least 3 times more days on this mountain skiing with him than I did going to school. He gave me this jacket. He came back from visiting family in Michigan, and he goes, "I didn't tell my mom, but I took this out of her closet because it's got flames on the back." And he's like, "I like everybody to see the flames when you're blowing past them."
He did. He actually did tell her, and he said that he knew someone he wanted to have. But my mom wasn't skiing anymore, and he's like, it was in all like Mike's shit. It was just like my mom. It was like dry cleaned and in a bag, and Mike's like, "Yes, I'm taking this," and yeah, there it is.
How about you think? We also bonded over music because growing up here in this town, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for me to learn about the kind of music that I really like punk rock and metal and stuff. You don't get that so much here. So when I met him, and he turned me on to like Thin Lizzy and Van Halen and Old Cheap Trick, and we went to so many shows. We must have seen Pantera together like 4 times. We saw Ministry, War. I think you were at one of those War shows. Jesus Lizard. We went to shows all the time. When Van Halen got back together with David Lee Roth, he called me and he said, "You're going." Took me there. The only 2 bad shows he ever took me to were 2 Grateful Dead shows because he was convinced that he was going to get me to like them. The first one was in Denver where the Nuggets play, and I'm like, nope. And the second one was in Vegas, and I had a great time. I took like 5 hits of acid, and he goes, "I told you you'd like it." I would have fun anywhere. I love Mike a lot. He meant a lot to me. He loaned me the money when I was 21 to move to New York so I could start a band.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Well, I got a good one. How about you think that Mike wasn't afraid of anything? One time we were walking up to Capitol Peak. You know what scared Mikey to death more than anything? Cows. Cows up there, summer pasturing. I never saw anybody more scared of my life of a cow. We never made it to the top because weather came in, and on the way back he had to go by the cows twice though. And as far as Keith Richards go, what you were saying about joints, when we go to the concerts, Keith, only one person rolled a joint like Mike. And after Keith got his first one, every show we went to, when Mike would throw that joint on the stage, Keith would look at it and he would just start pointing at his roadies like this, or else he would just dive down like a chicken on the fucking on a June bug. He just grab it, stick it in his pocket. I mean, Keith would just start freaking out when he saw that joint land on his stage, like it was gonna go somewhere.
I swear to God, I remember a story from Mike, and I believe this. I don't think I was at the show, but I might have been. Where he had been to a show the night before, the Stones, and he went back for the second night, and Keith said, I don't remember the exact words, but it's something to the effect of, hey, whoever the bloke was who threw that up there last night, throw me another one.
I have an
Take a lot of pride in
I
that.
have an addendum to Brian's banned from the mountain stories. 'Cause I know Mike was banned from the mountain more than once.
I was going to ask.
This particular time, as I recall, he got in a verbal argument with somebody in the ticket office. I can't remember what her name was. She worked there forever. They banned him for life. They accused him of calling her a bitch or something. So Mike, for the rest of the season, without a pass, this is probably when his habit of showing up in the afternoon came around. But this was back with paper tickets. And he would show up, he would wear a hoodie, full goggles, and a mask so they couldn't tell who he was, and he had a wire cutter. And when tourists would be done skiing at noon or 12:30 or 1 o'clock, he would cut their ticket, clip it on, get on the gondola, go ski the rest of the day.
So I need to addend the addendum. I forgot about this part of my story. I had it in my phone, but I didn't read it. So, okay, Mike going up to the ski mountain in disguise. What the fuck does that mean? You think nobody's gonna realize who it is roaring down the hill? Yeah, right, Mike. Good luck with that.
He got away with it the whole season.
Yeah, I laughed so loud when he told me he was doing that. It was great, so awesome.
I did want to ask Gorp how many times Mike had lost his pass, and I'm thinking that you probably can't keep count that far.
Yeah,
Banned for life at least 3 or 4 times.
He was in and out quite a bit. And there were
He had a lot of
times,
life.
I mean, we'd see him up here and we're going, oh man, he's up here again, and I know he doesn't have a pass. But he'd be going down and we'd be going up, so, oh well. And I think he needed to be up here anyways, skiing. A good
Keep the
place
rest of the
for
world
him,
safe.
is the way I looked at a lot of that. And as far as I can remember, Art might know different. I don't think he ever actually collided with anyone.
No, he was proud of that.
I think
He did go in the lobster trap that one time. Remember, you used to put the lobster trap at the bottom of Copper?
Oh yeah, he thought he was going to beat some guy through it.
That's when you guys took that. You took my pass away that week.
Yeah,
No, I think it was his Mike never ran over anybody he didn't know.
No, I don't recall
hit
him
me
ever
once.
actually
You only
hitting
hit the ones
well,
you
he
love.
piss him off a lot,
Yeah, I think he skied
but
over
I don't
somebody's
recall
tips.
him ever actually running into anybody up here.
He taught me to ski. I came from Ohio, so I was used to 290 vertical. And, skiing with him, he was a good pace setter. Keep
You
up.
did a pretty good job when you were younger.
Yeah, well, not now.
So I was Mike's personal ski tech for many years, and
Your name?
Jeff Griggs, and he would I don't have to tell you what he paid me, right?
We know what he paid.
But he paid me based on how fast his skis were.
Yeah.
So if his skis were slow, he'd hand me the bag. I'm like, "What's this?" He goes, "You missed the wax." I'm like, but I've got one quick story that was, we were getting on the gondola once, and the gondola shuffle to try to not have any squash-ons, and he was the master at that, as we know, but he was like, let's keep it low profile. We're just gonna work up, and like pretend we're putting our, everyone knows the routine, right? This is the old gondola, so we're last minute getting our skis in. We're like, okay, we got it, and then it's like was too late, and it's like one of his skis fell out, got wedged underneath the track, and then the gondola rode up, like the post on the bottom rode up the ski. So we're in the gondola, and the gondola is like this now. We all dive out, and we're like, let's try not to make a scene, right? So
That happens all the time.
so we dive out of the gondola, all of us. We're piled up there. The gondola rides up the ski until it misses and then comes off the tip. Then it comes crashing down. Now the post is not in the track, right? Stops the gondola. You know, everyone's like waiting. Big, scene. We're gathering our stuff up. They have to get the gondola back up and into the track. And then Mike goes, and Peter's there, right? He's like, come on, guys, right? And he goes, Mike goes, should we get in that gondola car? And Pete goes, I wouldn't.
My name is Art. I worked on patrol. Needless to say, Mike and I had a relationship. Gorp had mentioned a story which I'll tell briefly. It was a busy day, and here comes Mike down off of Face of Bell after yelling at my girlfriend here for getting out of his line. And someone said, you need to talk to that guy. I said, okay, I'll go talk to him. So he's hauling ass. So I take the shortcut down to Bingo's slot, and he's still in front of me. And I'm like, someone yelled, you'll never catch him. So I think it was a game. He tried to get down out of his skis and back in the dolo before I'd get to the bottom, which he did most of the time. This one time I come down now, I see him ahead of me, and he's hauling ass, and there's people, and he's dodging them. And after the person said, you need to talk to that guy, I said, okay, I went after him, and there he was on the concrete, one ski on, one off, knocked out, or not, he was silly, which is hard to tell. But, so I help him up out of his skis. He goes, what happened, And that was a comment Gorp made. He's fast, but he sometimes couldn't stop real well. We had our talk, and off he went.
That happened more than once on the concrete.
I'm going to say something because there aren't very many girls talking about Mike. I think I was one of his favorite girls to ski with, and I actually introduced him to Henry Philippe.
God bless Henry too.
And so the day that Mike met Henry, the ski patrol opened Reds, and 3 was open, and you had to go up 3 and then traverse across like Buckhorn to get over to Reds. And so the 3 of us, Henry, Mike, and I, just happened to get together because we were trying to go as fast as we could to get over to Reds, get up 3 and do it again and again and again. And as we would go the right side of Buckhorn, Henry was like, just skip over the top of the bumps and we'll just get there really fast. And so it would be like, Henry, Mike, me, and we would just skip through the bumps and get to Reds and go up 3 and do it again. And by about the 4th time we did this, the bumps were humongous. And Jackie Francis, and if you guys don't know me, exploded like all over the bumps. And that was the day that Henry and Mike met each other, and they became 2 of the fastest ski buddies on Aspen Mountain, along with Chris Tyler. And then later, my daughter became his favorite ski girl buddy, probably after Jessie, because she could keep up too. So Mike was really, really an amazing, fast skier.
I pulled him out of a tree well once on Tower 18. Like he was ahead of me, and then I come up and he was in the tree well, couldn't get out. And that's why I'm super paranoid about tree wells. But I mean, I had to physically pull him out of there. And,
even this last year, he would be like, "Hey, Jackie, so good to ski with you." So skiing was so much part of his heart.
I didn't realize he wasn't skiing because I wasn't skiing because of my knee. And when I found out he wasn't skiing, I thought it was really strange.
And obviously he couldn't live without skiing, and
He used to say he was not going to ski if he couldn't rip, and so he'd have 2 braces on, and he would pull those straps so tight and pound on his knees going up the gondola, but he wasn't gonna do it any other way.
100% passion.
Unbelievable.
think I told him one time, well, maybe if you just slow down a little bit. He looked at me with that look like,
Maybe if you don't ever say that again.
I love doing laps with Mike. He was so fun. I mean, I grew up here, and he was the first person who taught me what an actual line was down the mountain. And when you got to the bottom, how fast you could click out of your boots and pick up all your shit and like get to the gondola as fast as you could. He taught me about, you know, he'd have his little wooden bowl and how he'd treat it with honey and how you had to cure it just right. And he just had so much knowledge about beers and whiskey and everything kind. It seemed like yeah, the finer things. He definitely was a connoisseur of all things good. What a genuine, kind soul.
Yeah. He was a germaphobe, and I am too. So we were at Ajax Tavern, and the bartender put our beers, like, held the top of the glass.
Yeah.
So him and I had to, like, figure out where he didn't touch it. So Mike said, let's order him in the frosted mugs, you know, because then he'll grab it. So the guy pours the beers, he holds it, sits it down like this, and puts it in front of him.
That's a big no-no.
Still drank it. It was,
yeah, I'm gonna drink it. But.
I mean, he had it, and, like, he poured it with the beer in the handle, and then he sat it, like, on the edge of the bar, went like this, and put him.
I think anybody who's ever drank a beer with Mike probably has a beer story to tell about either no head or improperly handed to you or, you know, dirty glass or like, you know, they're not, like he would bitch like the glass is dirty because you had a head on it. Now it's like when I get it, it's gone. Like, you know, that was like beer and skiing.
Eric brought us
Whiskey.
down to Eric's before it even opened. And he was showing us what he was doing there, and Mike was like consulting him and telling him what beers he should have. And
So my name's Roya, and I've known Mike from the beginning.
Speak up, Roya. We can't hear you.
Yeah? Really? Louder.
Come on in.
Yeah. I met Mike back in the 80s. He was probably the first person I ever met. My boyfriend was a huge stoner, and I moved up here to be with him. But anyway, I think Mike got me a job at the shirt stop on the mall. See, my experience, but everything you've said is just so right on. But my experiences with skiing with him were I blinked and he was gone. So that's the extent of it. I've driven with him. I'm too passive and girly girl to be. The music, speed. I get the speeding tickets, but he would roar up valley and never get caught. But anyway, he got me a job at the shirt stop. Well, I want to tell you about his idiosyncrasies you were talking about, or dysfunction. A couple of things. He really tainted me about stuff. He was such a master at everything and so particular. One thing he hated was tourists, in khaki shorts and white t-shirts with a ball cap. So he would always carry on about that. And other things the way girls walk. Be like, she's attractive, but you know, she'd walk like all knock-kneed or something. Maybe just sit there and bust on people like that. It's hilarious. He was also a master at silk screening at the t-shirt shop he worked at. And he taught everybody. And one of his idiosyncrasies was you show the person the shirt, this is the job you've done, turn it back around, and then fold the corners in of the shoulders and hold it against your body, and then fold it down. So nobody wants their shirt rubbed all over your body. So this is how you do it. You take it and you fold it onto the counter, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, I learned. But what I got a kick out of was I wasn't a big Zappa fan. I've been exposed. But you know how if you work retail, people always come in just before closing. And they want to browse, and Mike would be pissed by them. So he would put on Zappa, Broken Heart are for Assholes. And he would crank it as he was so good at it. And by the time it got to the chorus, you're an asshole, people would be leaving. But what really cleared the store was when it got to the chorus, you're gonna take it up.